Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the incredible investment philosophy of Howard Marks. It's really a masterclass in how to think differently to get superior results. And it all kicks off by asking one really simple question.
So let's just start with this. Investing seems pretty straightforward, right? Buy low, sell high. But if it's really that simple, why are so few people able to consistently beat the market averages? Well, the answer, according to Howard Marks, is that most of us are playing a completely different game than the world's best investors.
See, Mark's whole idea boils down to this. There are two levels of thinking in the market. Most people, and I mean most of us, are operating right there on the surface, on what he calls level one. It's simple, it's superficial, and since it's exactly what everyone else is doing, it's literally impossible for it to lead to better than average results. To win, you've got to go deeper.
So let's see what this actually looks like. First level thinking is super linear. Hey, that's a good company, so I'll buy the stock. Simple. But second level thinking adds these crucial extra layers. It asks, okay, yeah, it's a good company, but what does everybody else think? Is all that optimism already baked into the price? Or is it maybe even overblown? You see the difference? It's not just about being right. It's about being more right than what the market already believes.
So what exactly is this second-level thinking? Well, Marx defines it as this deep, complex, and he even says convoluted process. It's not about finding some easy, repeatable formula. In fact, he really hammers this home. It's way more of an art than a science. The entire goal is to look at the exact same information as everybody else, but see something that they don't.
So this means you start asking a totally different set of questions. Instead of just asking, hey, will this company do well, you have to ask, what does everyone else think is going to happen? And maybe even more important, how much of that belief is already factored into the price today? It completely changes investing from a numbers game into a game of expectations, probabilities, and, psychology.
Okay, so how do we actually use this idea in the real world? Well, the first and, honestly, the most important place to apply it is in understanding the relationship between price and value. Because as a second-level thinker, you realize the key isn't just finding a great company, it's about buying it at a great price.
This quote just nails it. It gets right to the heart of everything. Any first-level thinker can spot a good company, but your success isn't decided by the quality of what you buy, it's decided by the price you pay for it. That distinction, it is absolutely everything.
And for a perfect, almost painful example of this, let's take a look at the Nifty 50. Back in the early 70s, the big idea, the consensus, was that you could buy the 50 best, fastest-growing companies in America, and the price you paid just didn't matter. The thinking was, oh, they're so good, they'll just grow into whatever valuation you pay.
But just look what happened. The first-level thinking was kind of right. These were amazing companies. But the price they paid was a total disaster. When the market finally turned, those sky-high price-to-earnings ratios, which is just a way to measure how expensive a stock is, they completely collapsed. They went from 80 or 90 times earnings all the way down to just 8 or 9. The people who bought America's best companies at the top lost almost all of their money. It's just the ultimate proof. Even the absolute best asset in the world can be a terrible investment if you overpay for it.
And, this whole idea of overpaying, it brings us right to the next huge concept. We have to completely rethink what risk actually is. Because just like with value, first-level thinkers are often looking at completely the wrong thing when they talk about what's risky.
If you took a finance class, they probably told you risk is volatility, how much a price bounces around. They love it because you can measure it and put a neat number on it. But Howard Marks says, look, real investors don't really care for price bounces. What they're truly afraid of is the real probability of permanently losing their money. That's the actual danger, and it's not something you can just plug into a spreadsheet.
I love this quote. It just perfectly captures what uncertainty is all about. The future isn't just one single point on a chart. It's this whole range of possibilities. The outcome we actually get is just one of many things that could have happened. And risk lives in all those other potentially bad outcomes.
All right, so this brings us to what might be the single most powerful, most counterintuitive idea in Mark's entire philosophy. It's what he calls the great paradox of risk. So get ready, because this is about to turn your understanding of where danger comes from completely upside down.
Okay, so first-level thinking tells us that risk is at its highest when the economy is in the tank, the headlines are terrifying, and everybody is panicking. It feels dangerous, so it must be risky. That makes total sense, right?
But the second-level truth is the exact opposite.
Real investment risk is at its absolute peak when the markets are soaring and everyone is convinced there's no risk at all. Danger isn't born from fear, it's born from the widespread belief that everything is safe.
So why is that? Well, think about it. In a boom, optimism just takes over. Investors totally forget to be skeptical. They start bidding prices up to levels that make absolutely no fundamental sense. And because everyone feels so safe, nobody demands to be paid extra for taking on risk. So the potential returns shrink down to almost nothing, while the actual danger, that risk of permanent loss from overpaying, goes through the roof.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The greatest risk you can take is the risk you don't see. When everyone is terrified, prices are usually low and potential returns are high, making it, paradoxically, one of the safest times to invest. And when everyone is euphoric, that's when prices are high, potential returns are low, and it's the most dangerous time of all. Okay, so we've talked about second-level thinking, price versus value, and this huge paradox of risk. So how do we pull all of this together into something we can actually use? This is the ultimate takeaway, a brand new mental model for how you can approach investing.
The path to getting better results really looks like this. Step 1, you have to develop a view on value that's different from what everybody else thinks. But, and this is a big but, just being different isn't enough. You also have to be right. From there, you build in what's called a margin of safety by only buying when the price is well below what you think it's actually worth. And finally, you have to have the guts to hold on, because trust me, in the short term, being early can feel exactly the same as being wrong.
And here's the most important part. This whole process, it's not some checklist you can just automate or program into a computer. It's not a simple algorithm. Getting extraordinary results isn't about having better math. It's about having a superior way of thinking, deeper insight, and winning a much tougher psychological game.
And that leaves us with the one ultimate question, the question you should ask yourself before every single investment decision you make. Don't just ask, is this a good idea? Instead, ask, what do I understand about this that the consensus does not? Because the answer to that question, that's where all superior performance is born.